Hello people, I'm the anime hero, and here's my friend.
Mr. Falcon Punch and 996.
Today we're gonna talk about a manga. Yeah, the manga we're gonna talk about is called Alabaster from Osamu Tezuka. Because it's one of his darkest stories. That originally it was 3 volumes, but in the English edition, or the more newer editions, it's condensed into 2. And in 2015, there was a Kickstarter by Digital Manga to publish his things in physical format. And recently on Right Stuff in 2017, August when I ordered it, I just happened to find like some listings of the manga there, so I don't know if technically this thing is out of print or not. I'm not sure, because I know there's nothing on Amazon for it. So
yeah, see, like, with this series, I think it's kind of rare, and that's probably why they had the Kickstarter for it, because, like, I know Tezuka kind of went out of his way to, like, keep people from reading this. Like,
there's a little paragraph about that. Actually, let me just open the page. It's in the very back of the book. To all readers, Osama. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Here we go. There are some works that no matter how much the publishing company begs me to release them in compiled volumes, I can't help but feel reluctant about. I hate to mention them, but some examples are Dust 18, Burunga the First, and Hurricane Z, etc., as well as the book you hold in your hand, Alabaster. Why am I reluctant to publish them? Well, there are many reasons. For instance, it wasn't popular or influential even when it was originally serialized, so it was cancelled early, or even I think it's bad, or I hate the protagonist's personality or style, or it's impossible to republish now due to discrimination or other issues, as well as many others. If we're releasing my complete works, well, we're collecting my entire portfolio, so I can't make those kinds of excuses. The first of these titles to, unfortunately, come up was Alabaster. Oh yeah, here's a little more. The thing I most dislike about Alabaster is its darkness. The fact that I began writing it hoping to capture that sense of grotesque and salacious adventure present in works like Rampo Edogawa's The Dwarf or Beast in the Shadows was the source of my failure. It seems I have a habit of writing works featuring completely unsalvageable nihilism, and this one, Alabaster, became one of those. I hate every character that appears in it without exception, especially Rock and Gen. They are likely the characters I have the most trouble with and don't like to draw. I think the reason I drew it regardless is because there were waves in my creative spirit, and it came around during one of those lowest points. Morio Kita, famous for his own self-professed manic depression, called me the internal manic depressive, but he's wrong. I tend to be seized by inescapable bouts of melancholy. Every 3 to 4 years, whenever I release a flop or other failure, it always tends to be because I drew it when I was in one of those states. And that's his words.
Yep, the words of Tezuka.
Yeah, it's like, I hate all my characters.
Which is, like, strange. Like, you hate every character, but, like, what about Hami's, like, brother?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Well, then again, Tezuka has always been kind of like an interesting figure when you hear his self-commentary.
Yeah, because especially when like, oh, I hate some of my works because they weren't influential. Like, I remember reading that work, like, not everything you, like, I know you're the god of manga, but, like, everything you're going to come out with is going to be gold. Like,
yeah, I don't know, somehow people, like, all the, like, the critiques keep him in high regard in some way, like.
As I was telling you before we started recording, like, the darker stage, from what I could gather that he was kind of talking about when he was writing this series, is sort of like, I think when he was writing Alabaster, it was around the time when Mushi Productions, his anime studio, was sort of, going out of business, and I think he was also losing rights to a couple of his characters around this time. So that was kind of like fueling the darkness of Tezuka throughout this run. And then also I was hearing that during this run, because a lot of people are more used to Tezuka's, happier, fun side, like, they're used to reading things like Astro Boy or, whatever else, like, I guess Princess Knight. I would say Blackjack, but Blackjack isn't exactly the most happy-go-lucky series around.
No,
but, like,
not the manga, at least.
Still, yeah. But still, like, people are more used to that kind of stuff. So then, like, when they start reading Alabaster, it's just kind of like, oh my god, what the fuck, bro? Like, why are you so dark? Why are you so mean? Like, the Alabaster, it opens up in a very, dark, way. I mean, you basically see Alabaster come up, interrogate this dude, and just kill him. And then you get get Alabaster's whole backstory and how he came to be, and that's fucked up. And then you just keep on escalating until the ending, which is like mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So, it definitely was a shock for a lot of people, but at the same time, I feel like this manga does this, like, I think he was a little bit too hard on himself, because I do feel there is a lot of merit to this series. I mean, like, yes, it's very dark, but there's also, like, that Tezuka creativity everyone loves, and personally, I mean, I haven't read every Tezuka manga out there, like, I think, Hiro, you probably read more than I have.
That's not saying much, honestly. It's not like that big of a margin. It's like probably like maybe a few pages more than anything.
Okay, so you probably read a few pages more, but like,
yeah.
There's certain panels in here, like art-wise, like are probably again I haven't read that much. Like it's kind of like an empty compliment, but I think it's some of his best. Like especially when you start seeing some of like Alabaster's experiments with invisibility, they're truly horrifying. Like, a lot of panels really do, like, stick with me. And, again, it's that creativity, because the whole thing about Alabaster is, like, the horrors and invisibility, which, visually doesn't sound that appealing, because when you're invisible, obviously, you can't see, you're transparent. Mm. But, like, the way Tezuka goes about it is, like, certain parts of you become invisible. Like, in Alabaster's case, it's like, what exactly was it? Like, his skin became like transparent, so you're more seeing like the insides of him, which is really horrifying. That's what changed him into a monster. Yeah, and then you have this series theme of beauty and what is beauty, what is ugly, and stuff like that. And that's even horrifying too.
Yeah, because I've always kind of been curious, like what color he's supposed to be, because all the volume artwork portray him as blue, but I'm thinking he probably should be like really red. Maybe like some green and blue for the veins.
Right.
Yeah, because
that's appropriate enough. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something I've always been curious. Because even in some Blackjack artwork, the skin on his face is the extra patch of skin that's added on. It's blue. In some illustrations, I don't know why. So.
Yeah, I always kind of like those though, because it kind of gives it more of like a Frankensteinish.
Yeah, I think that was what he was getting across, because I just find it interesting how none of the anime adaptations have that color. I want to say there was one version that actually did have that color, but I don't recall what it was.
Because I see the red thing, but because I've seen a lot of the volume covers and whatnot. Like he's Alabaster as a character is always like has these very ghastly colors. Like he's either kind of like this whitish gray, or he's like this blue-green, grayish kind of thing, and just Alabaster's design, like, he has this very unique style, like, his face is just, like, haunting, and he has this, like, cool style, he has his hat, his coat, and everything, and then, I'm not sure if you remember it, but, like, he has a really cool-ass car.
Oh, yeah, it's like this, like, zebra striped car.
Yeah, like, Alabaster has style. And that's another thing why I'm kind of sad that, like, Tezuka hated the character so much, because like, for that reason, Alabaster couldn't pop in, like, other works, because I think Alabaster would be a great character to pop in, like, Astro Boy or Blackjack.
Oh, yeah.
And then, really, because with Blackjack, he could fit in as a patient, and Astro Boy, he could fit in as a villain of the week or whatever.
Yeah, but that'd be like, well, then again, Astro Boy has gone in some dark areas when it feels like it, but... I don't know, I kind of feel that might be a little too dark for Astro. Maybe.
Well, Tezuka usually brings in certain characters, but certain aspects of them are, like, changed slightly.
Well, I don't know, maybe. Because I do know that with Blackjack, it'll be like, oh shit, that's gonna be dark.
I mean, with Blackjack, you can actually kind of make it canon with, like, Alabaster. Like, maybe in a point of time, he was, like, seeking out Blackjack to try to fix him, and then, like, Blackjack couldn't. And that's when he decided to become a criminal or something.
Yeah, it could fit. Well, I don't know, Blackjack could fit almost anything, with honesty.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's the beauty of Blackjack. You kind of just put him in anything.
Yeah.
He's a surgeon, but he has, like, this godly skill, so you can put him in any supernatural context.
I am the surgeon, I got the master hands, I am the surgeon. They call me Blackjack.
Wasn't there, like, I forgot, I think in anime they said he has, like, the hands of God or something?
Yeah, that was the tagline of the Manga Entertainment's tagline for the movie. It was called The Surgeon with the Hands of God.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so They even say it like in the first scene of the film, and that's like the only time they bring it up.
The first scene. Get as the hands of God. Credits.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alabaster is Man, I guess we haven't really talked about the story.
No, we should like go start from the very beginning because what is this thing? Well, actually, what surprised me that this is also a reason why I'm kind of curious, like if this manga really didn't cause any waves back then or any controversy because this thing predates Devilman by 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, 1970, and Devilman was 72. And, by that point, Nagai was already doing his Shameless School stuff, I think. So, he was causing trouble in Jump. Meanwhile, Tezuka is like, I think this was Champion? Might be.
I believe so.
Oh, I'll check. Like, let's see, were you in Champion? Or was it this other one? Because I know for sure, I'm pretty sure it was a Shonen magazine. But the question is, which one? Let's see. It's in, Shonen Champion. And it was a pretty fast run also. It started in December of 70, and then it ended in June 71.
I mean, it was like a 4-volume series, though.
Yeah, 3.
Right? Oh, 3 volumes.
Even here, it's listed as action, mystery, sci-fi, and shonen. I'm like, where's the horror? Come on. To me, it's frightening enough to be horror.
And I mean, again, like we were saying, those last panels of, like,
well, the whole thing is, I mean,
walking in it.
Cause, it's interesting because it starts off with like with the fucking murder, and then it becomes like a murder with a bit of sci-fi, and then it gradually turns into a crime series, and then it just turns into straight up horror by the end, and then a tragedy by the end of it. Yeah, and then, well, I'm assuming that like his inspiration was the Hollow Man, the Invisible Man, or whichever one came out back then, maybe both. Because they do mention it briefly in one of these volumes. I forgot what chapter. I guess we should start off with the whole origin story of James Block.
Yep, that is Alabaster's original name. He was, what was he? I know he was an athlete. Did they specify what athlete he was? Because I kind of forgot. It's been a while since I read Alabaster. Was he like, I think he was an Olympic sports star, was he?
Yeah, he was in the Olympics, but I'm trying to find out exactly if there is a title or something. Let's see. I was number 1 in the collegiate sports world, so they sent me to the Munich Olympics, where I won 6 gold medals, and they just say that they don't specify anything else in that.
I want to say he was like a marathon runner. But anyways, he was a sports star, very famous, had a promising future and everything. Like the dude had everything, money, fame, and he had this girl.
The girl's name is Susan Ross.
Yeah, Susan Ross. And that's where things take a downhill turn for him. Forgot exactly what happened, but I know like things kind of turned sour with their relationship, and due to that, Alabaster, James Block kind of goes on like a very angry kind of rampage, which causes him to go to jail. And while in jail, he meets up with a scientist named Dr. F, who was working on this like invisible ray, and he was telling James all about it. So once James gets out of jail, he basically, tracks down Dr. F's like, secret lab and tests out this invisible ray for himself, and just figures he could use this invisible ray for like crime, steal things, stuff like that. But kind of turns out that this ray malfunctions on him and damages his body, causing his like skin to become translucent, and he can't really fix the effect. So now he's just permanently scarred, and that's when he takes up the name Alabaster, because Alabaster is like I believe like this rock, and like the way it kind of like looks is similar to Alabaster's skin, like its translucency. And so he, basically wants to get revenge on his women, and that's how the manga opens up. He's basically getting revenge on that woman that betrayed him very long ago, which is a very dark way to open up a series. If your main character is just killing a lady, in a very brutal way. not only do you kill her, you just hide the body by making her invisible so no one will find her ever, which is very dark. And then, anyways, after he gets his revenge, he basically just wants to become a mastermind thief and like destroy people's perception of beauty. But then he also comes across Dr. F's granddaughter, Ami, who Dr. F experimented on. That's what kind of led him to jail, because he was experimenting on his granddaughter, and his granddaughter became completely invisible. So Alabaster sort of goes up to her, tries, taking her to the dark side. And then there's a lot of other characters. Ami comes across the way that, try telling her to go away from Alabaster, because Alabaster is a bad influence. And then from there, we get our story with Alabaster just doing his thing as a criminal, trying to get Ami to his side, Ami trying to discover what she wants, and then we also get this FBI agent that comes in later on called Rock, who is one of the most fucked up manga characters ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much Alabaster.
Well, yeah, but, then, because then there's also, like, Gen.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Gen's like, sort of like this boy she meets, like, that just, like, Ami meets, that, is kind of like, starts off taking advantage of her, because, like, oh, she's invisible, so she can go steal these things from me. But then, once the two meet Alabaster, Gen starts saying that Alabaster's not really the greatest guy in the world, because, Alabaster just outright kills, like, if something bad happens, Alabaster just kills people, which is, not really...
Yeah, because at first he was sort of going through an anti-hero role for a bit, because what he would do was, he was disgusted with the idea how people may look good on the outside but bad on the inside, so he really had a grudge to settle when it came to people who supposedly did good things, but they were actually committing a lot of crimes. Basically a lot of corrupt figureheads. So what he would do is kidnap these people and then kill them.
Right.
Yeah, but then as the story keeps going, he just starts making up excuses for... He just starts killing people simply because he doesn't like the way they look for being, like, very beautiful or handsome or wealthy or whatever. Because, like, when he was... Yeah, because...
Alabaster's book, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, because when he was killing those models, like, the models had nothing to do with anything.
Oh, yeah, that was a really fucked up
Yeah, like,
scenario.
none of the models did anything bad. It's like...
They're just doing their job, and he just, like, kidnaps them all. And, like, the
Yeah.
doctor, like, hey, I'll make you guys ugly like me. You're like, oh, Alabaster.
Yeah,
It's like, really, he just goes
Alabaster.
through a downward spiral. Like, once he finds the invisible ray, it's just, like, all downhill.
Yeah, because I consider this also appropriate for a crime anime because it starts off that, this guy that had everything, then loses it, and then he gets everything back, and then by the end of the story, he ends up losing everything again.
Yeah, like, that's why I really want, like, an anime adaptation for this. I think it would be, like, a really great series. Like, if they did do it properly and released it today, it would be, like, a good hit.
Yeah, because I kind of wanted to see a little more from the perspective of Gen and his friends, because in the beginning of the story, like, they did mention they were stuck with Alabaster for, like, more than 3 years after they broke out of the jail.
Right.
And even then, like, they did mention that they had to escort Ami, like, every now and then whenever she wanted to go out as bodyguards, and by the end of the manga, you notice that the organization, well, it turned into a gigantic organization, and then I just would like to see more how it evolved, kind of like in the Gungrave style, where it just started out with a couple of, friends close together, then it just expanded way too much. Like, just to see how much the times have changed.
Yeah. That would be great too, because I think, yeah, they could probably use Gen a bit more, considering how much of an impact he kind of plays later on. But, like, again, I think, I'm not sure, yeah, we were talking about beforehand, but, like, just a lot of the characters in the series aren't, like, they're not really the nicest people. I mean, like, sure, Gen kind of changes, but, again, he started off taking advantage of Ami. And it wasn't until they became, like, closer friends, he's like, oh, yeah, you know what, she's a person, too, and, like, kind of starts developing feelings for her.
Yeah, it also helps when you're working for, like, this really crazy psychopath.
Yeah, and then, like, I know he was, like, trying to train everyone, because, like, probably the most over-the-top thing about the manga is, like, while James Black Alabaster was originally in prison, he was, like, just practicing his flicking skills.
Yeah.
And he became so good that to the point where he could just flick small pebbles or peanuts and just like wind up killing people. Like he had like the force of a bullet with him. And like I know he's trying to teach Jen and his friends this, but like I don't think they really ever properly master it.
Not until the very last chapter. You don't see who threw it, but someone did throw one.
Which is just like, I always find that like the most hilarious thing. When he just reaches in his pocket and just like flicking everyone. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, got killed with a penny. It's something that only he can do. Well, someone else was able to do it by the end of it, but yeah, that seems something that Alabaster was like, yeah, that's my technique. Even though he explains how it works, it actually got me curious. Like, should it be able to work? Because like it didn't make sense with the whole like car and the pebble and the windshield thing, but I guess it all comes down to force and speed.
Right. Yeah, no, I feel like we need to be like one of those like death battle scientists. We're like, well, considering the amount of force and PSI that it takes to do this.
Yeah, because because James Black also was an Olympian, so maybe that's something to do with it. But I think this may also imply that he has some sort of superhuman strength. Because I mean, for him to be able to do damage with with peanuts and all that, that would mean that he should be able to maybe crush skulls with his bare hands or something.
Yeah, because I mean, on top of just that flicking speed, it's not just like the speed of it. He's also very precise with it. I mean, he was able to knock down, or I think just straight up kill.
Yeah, he can kill people with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the beginning when he kills that lady, in the first chapter, he's being chased by these policemen, and kind of just turns around, wipes them all out. So he's very precise with it too. Yeah. So there's that accuracy right there.
Yeah, his own form of guns. My bullets, they're peanuts. Diddy Kong has nothing on me.
Golgo 13 scene where he's walking down the street and then those gangsters behind him. He just turns around and I forgot the precise amount of time, but I think it wasn't even a second. He just wipes off all the gangsters and then he just walks away like nothing happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know, the scenes with the peanuts always kind of remind me of that scene, that quick draw.
It also kind of remind me of Bullseye in that Daredevil movie when he's in the plane.
No, actually, I never watched the original movie, so I've heard about certain scenes.
Yeah, some things are okay. And there's a scene where he ends up making his old lady choke on a peanut by ricocheting the peanut from the chair. Yeah, so because he was just getting annoyed that she just kept talking to him, and then he just ends up killing her there.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I only watched the Netflix series.
Yeah, in a way, it actually is a pretty dark scene. Now that I think about it.
I mean, I can picture that happening in Alabaster too. That seems like something he'd probably do.
Well, yeah, he started off as sort of a vengeful anti-hero, then he just becomes straight up villain by the end of it.
Yeah, because the anti-hero thing, it wasn't laid up the most. It happened, but it was kind of clear that wasn't.
Yeah, there was more chapters of them doing different operations, but bringing Sly Cooper back again. It's alright, so there's this politician. We're gonna have Ami sneak in and take his stuff, and then we'll get Alabaster and we'll take him out with a sniper peanut. And that's when the boys move in and steal the jewelry, and then we get the hell out of there.
Pretty much.
Remember, Alabaster, jump and press the circle button.
Oh, God. See, that was another thing we were kind of talking about earlier. I mean, we know he was in a dark place, and this is just kind of a manga that he was writing, during this time. And he doesn't really like it, but it was clear that there's a lot of thought and effort going into this. It wasn't just something he drew really quick to get rid of stress. For example, Go Nagai, there's plenty of mangas he's made that are just simply made to release some stress. But when you read them, they're kind of clear. Oh yeah, I can kind of, it's goofy, it's weird. For example, series like that, or Enmakun or Iron Virgin June. Those series clearly had ideas, but then they just kind of go all over the place, and they just randomly end. But Alabaster had a clear beginning, middle, end. There was a thought process behind it. I mean, the only thing I think maybe would have been wanted to play up the anti-hero thing, then later on just decided to just make him like irredeemable.
Well, I think the message is stronger in that way because the very last confrontation with him and Ami and her brother, like, 'cause she answers with him like, you can only see physical beauty. No matter how much you try to destroy it, you'll never understand the real beauty that does exist. That beauty is well, actually, yeah, that's she gets cut off when she says that. But basically, yeah, that shows that he's only look at things in a superficial way. He's not seeing like you know, yeah, inner beauty, like, you know, because I remember there was this one scene where he picks a flower and he's showing it to Ami that, you know, from the top it looks all pretty, but when you pull it down to the roots it's all ugly. But I'm thinking, well, but in a way we're all ugly. We go by that logic because we're all made of like flesh and bones.
Yeah, so like again, it's like there's a very clear thought process with the series, which is why like I think Tezuka's hate for it is just a little misguided.
I don't know. He's just not proud of himself for doing this. Just like, why did I make this?
I know, which it kind of frustrates me because I really do like this series. I'm like, why do you hate it? Because like again, he outright said, "I hate every character here," and I'm like, come on, man.
I don't know. I think he has shown to like exaggerate a lot. It kind of sounds like he's throwing a hissy fit sometimes. It's like,
yeah, no, definitely. Like in the Astro Boy volumes, when he's talking about certain things, like he does kind of come off that way.
He comes off as that one like that one YouTuber that makes those rant videos.
Like I forgot what he said in this one Astro Boy volume. I think it had to do something with like I think there's one scene where Astro Boy crashed. And like when it came over to the West, they had to censor it, and he was kind of having like this fit over it, like, oh, why, it's just a robot.
Yeah, then I'm questioning them, but Tezuka, don't you know that Astro can't kill all the robots if he's meant to, you know, be the equalizer, the balance between man and machine. That's sort of like the humans killing the people. It goes against your message.
And see, that's my question too, because I remember some of the things he was bringing up, like, because he was getting mad at certain censorships. Like his retort to that is like, oh, they're just robots. But like at the same time, I'm like, your whole message of Astro Boy is that even though they're just robots, they shouldn't be treated like just machines. They have feelings, they have emotions. Like that's your message. But
yeah, which I find kind of hilarious that the people that he deems that are incapable of these types of emotion or understanding, the Americans, they were able to notice right away, like, oh, this is not right. We can't have the main hero kill, especially not his own kind. What the hell?
I know. So, like, it kind of brings, like, for Tezuka, it's kind of like, I guess it's same could be true said like most of these like older manga, because it kind of takes until later on where like Anime Studio comes in and steps in and cleans up some of the original's I guess errors, you could say.
Yeah.
There's definitely Astro Boy 2003. I mean, I haven't fully watched it yet, but that seems more in the direction that.
Yeah, they were like, yeah, we gotta fix all of this shit. Because the 80s show was mostly left as it was from the manga, so like the Pluto storyline really sucks. No matter how you look at it, the original Pluto just sucks so much. Because the whole message was to prove that, oh yeah, you know, it's bad to fight. And the thing is, like, this robot created this machine just so he could prove to his master, like, yeah, fighting is wrong. So this is why I agreed to this whole thing, create this death machine, and let him go on a rampage and kill, you know, robots that clearly had lives. And that meant they had some significant importance to several other people, just to show you that fighting is wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Fuck.
Yeah, I would say certain other characters in some of his other series are like, I mean, again, I'm not sure just as dark as Alabaster, but I'm pretty sure they've done some fucked up shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Clockwork Apple manga should have like some fucked up stuff in there. And
I remember a comment I got on my video saying there was another series that Tezuka did that was also pretty fucked up.
Was it the Muth one? or maybe that's one of them.
I don't think, but that may be one of them. Because again, Tezuka, like, he had such a huge career. I mean, the man practically covered every genre and demographic you could think of. I mean, the man even did hentai. Okay,
Yeah.
he even covered hentai.
Yeah,
And
then he also had like
and
and his granddaughter, niece, or whatever, like also or daughter found his stash of porn,
so like
his furry porn.
So like Tezuka, I mean like he's the god of anime and manga for a reason. I mean like the dude did it all in his career.
And going to guys like, man, I wanted to do the same thing too, but more fucked up on a daily basis.
See, like the thing with the guy though, he doesn't hate anything he makes. He's just like, yeah, whatever. Whatever my hand comes up with.
Yeah, hey, as long as I'm not doing diarrhea, I'll do whatever.
Yeah, like the guy is just—he's like a chill guy. That's why he's like known as the uncle of manga. He's like that cool uncle, Just you come in and like, oh, the guy's son, I'm so happy to see you. He's like, yeah, let's go watch a rated R movie. Your parents won't let you see.
Let me make a new manga too, while I'm at it.
Yeah. Again, like Nagai was like just like Tezuka. Like when he was stressed out with work, he'll just make more series. But again,
but going to guys like standard quality is probably much lower compared to Nagai's like standards.
Yeah, because like
or Tezuka standard too. So.
Yeah, because like Nagai, like really critically, he has one good series critically. In all honesty, which is just Devilman.
Everything else is like lowbrow.
It's very low. See, like the guy is like vulgar. He's a B movie director. He's very creative. He comes up with the craziest shit imaginable. But like when you watch it, it's very explicit. It's very campy. It's very weird. But like there was a good amount of creativity. But like once in a while, he could like come out with this gem that will still have all of the the weird fucked up stuff. But like it'll be like a critical darling. Whereas Tezuka, I think maybe that's probably another thing why he didn't like Alabaster, is probably because like when it was initially released, it didn't receive like the greatest praise, as probably when compared to the praise it probably would get now if it came out.
Yeah, I guess because even a Mal Dante was like controversial also back then. So then again, it could still be controversial now because of the things that he says of like, what if all these historical figures were actually bad people and the bad people were actually good.
Yeah, see, like the guy is like usually always controversial, even in his like more goofy series. I mean, again, the whole thing with Shameless School, he brings in the PTA to like wipe out the main characters. I mean, but see, like the guy just doesn't give a shit.
And he somehow gets away with it. I don't know how.
I honestly, like, I think his editors are just scared of him, so they don't question, like, anything he does. Because, like, you always hear these stories of these mangakas, like, they wanted to do certain things, or they wanted to wrap up the series, but the editors, like, no, make it longer, no, change this, no, bring back this character. But, like, I don't think the guy's ever faced that issue ever in his career. Because, I mean, like, in NB-chan, there's, like, a straight-up chapter where he's just bitching about everyone he's ever worked with. Including his editor. So, like, there's like a certain, like, okay, I don't think the guy really has a filter. Like, Keko Kamen started as a joke, and his editor, like, was like, okay, here, 5 volumes for you. But yeah, going back to Tezuka.
Yeah, Alabaster. The bastard that is Alabaster. Well, that's like his Sonic the Hedgehog name is like, I'm Alabaster the Bastard.
Well, I mean, in a sense, I guess you could say Alabaster is like a bastard child of Tezuka. It's like,
well, I guess.
He made it, but he doesn't want to be connected to it.
Oh.
Like, no, I didn't make that. Maybe it was that Nagai fellow. I don't know.
Nagai? You're Nagai. Buy it from me. Take it off my hands.
You can add boobs to it. One of the characters is invisible. They have to be naked to do it. Come on.
Like, make your erotic porn out of this shit.
Yeah, honestly, though, I really need to take a dive with more of Tezuka series. Because I've read everything possible for Nagai online.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I plan on moving towards Tezuka and Ishinomori. Like these,
Yeah, because Tezuka has, like, a lot more available stuff over here than probably any of the
Yeah,
other mangakas.
yeah, really, which I find kind of sad, because, like, he definitely is an important figure, but there's other figures that are just as important, that don't get the same amount of treatment, at least in, like, the U.S. or, like, English-speaking countries. Because, like, I mean, with Tezuka, there's that website, Tezuka in English, that just pretty much covers, like, almost everything about the guy.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think, like, what other big names. The only ones that come to my mind are, like, Phoenix, Buddha, and Message to Adolf. Like,
yeah, those all.
Yeah, those three are the only ones that come straight to my head when it comes to Tezuka's other stuff. Well, then again, there's probably, like, a bunch of manga that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, because, like, I know there's Ambassador Magma that was pretty popular back in the day, because I got, like, a tokusatsu series that, set up standards. And I think it got an anime. And then, I'm not sure, but I think Unico was popular. I'm not too sure about that one. Oh, and there's Kimba the White Lion. I know that one was popular.
Yeah.
I thought Kimba, though, was actually like a... Because I saw a movie for it at Blockbuster back in the day. I thought it was like a Ghibli movie or something. Like, years later, I found out, like, oh, okay, that has nothing to do with Ghibli.
No.
Then,
you know what would be funny if, like, after Devilman Crybaby airs, like, about a year or like a month or a year later, out of nowhere, like, fucking Yuasa Masaki, like, just announces we're gonna make an anime adaptation of Alabaster.
I would be totally down for that, but, like, that would be very unlikely.
Yeah. Let's see what happens within a year.
But I'd totally be down if that was the thing. Oh shit, visually that would look amazing though.
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of thinking, like, maybe, well, then again, we'll see what happens with Devilman Crybaby. Let's see how crazy it gets.
Yeah.
Will we see
like,
manga
I definitely have
panels?
faith in it.
Will there be any manga panels in that adaptation or not?
See, that's what I'm hoping for, because, like, again, I really need to read the Ping Pong manga, because I love the anime, but I heard there are some changes, but, like, I've heard some of the changes he made are for the better. But, I don't know, we'll see how he handles the anime. Because, like, I was really on board for it. I kind of got slightly turned away when he started changing the character designs, which, I can be fine with. But, like, I'm just wondering, if he's changing the character designs, does that mean he's going to go away from, like, the more, I just want the silhouette scene. That's all I fucking want. Just give me the fucking silhouette scene.
Yeah, because I'm kind of curious about, like, some panel layouts, and now we have to wait another 10 years for, like, the most accurate manga anime adaptation of that manga. But I don't know.
I mean, that's the thing I'm praying for, that this, Devilman anime will do, is that after it, hopefully we'll get more adaptations.
Either that or, it'll be so good it's like, you know what, that's it. It can't be topped anymore.
I mean, they can always go, like I was saying, like a couple podcasts back, maybe, like, they just get other studios to do different adaptations of Devilman.
Yeah.
Or, like, the kind of, like, sequels, but not really.
I don't know why, but I kind of get the feeling that maybe, like, we won't see, like, a accurate adaptation of Devilman, but something tells me that we will see a more accurate version to the other ones, like Lady and Saga.
That'd be funny. But yeah, I could probably see that being a thing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that's could, in a way, it's sort of like a, I don't know, a bit of a joke. It's like, yeah, the manga's like, it's left on its own.
But, like, I mean, again, we have until spring to find out. Supposedly, according to the interviews, they are going to follow the manga storyline.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
I know, because I just kind of want to get past the... Well, then again, we need to see how they make their own spin on the birth scenes, but I just kind of want to get past all that stuff already, just get to the what hasn't been seen before.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of necessary to get to it, because this is going to be a full adaptation. But that would probably be, like, the first couple episodes.
Oh, obviously.
Yeah. And, like, I'm pretty sure once we get closer to the actual date, they might just start showing scenes we haven't seen before, because I'm pretty sure, like, in those, because I've been following the anime on Twitter. Supposedly, they're midway through production, I think, back when like the trailer came out. So probably the only scenes they had like show were like stuff from the beginning. So hopefully once we get close to the spring, we might see like something of Xenon or something we haven't like seen before. Maybe Psycho Jenny in a trailer, something.
Yeah, or I don't know, like if they just show like Mickey is surrounded by people in the house, then okay, that's enough. That's enough. No.
Yeah, that's enough to know. Yeah.
Well, then again, they actually foreshadowed that in the second Devilman OVA. It was during like Akira's nightmare. You see like well they show Xenon for a little bit, but you also see like Mickey like we see Ryo Asuka with a knife like on Mickey's back, so it's like close enough to that scene really. And sometimes I wish like that OVA managed to finish, because I mean they were doing a lot of good stuff. Like with those 2 episodes, especially with that foreshadowing scene, because that would have worked so well if they managed to work that in to the end.
I mean, again, those OVAs were like the closest, like design-wise, to looking like the manga.
Yeah, because the Shin Mazinger anime is like very accurate to Go Nagai's art style. So
yeah, see, Shin Mazinger. That's why I love Masaki, but I think they should have gone to the director of Shin Mazinger, Imagawa. Because, like, that dude, he pays very close attention to, like, source material, but he adds in his own stuff while also drawing influence from, like, other material from that author to make, like, amazing things. I mean, there's Shin Mazinger and, like, Tetsujin 28 Go and Giant Robo. Like, he pays very, very close attention to the original source material. And, like, again, he adds his own creative flair to it. Like, in Shin Mazinger, the whole, like, Energy Z or whatever that was called. That was supposed to be Great Mazinger, but like I think something happened, he had to change it. But then again, the whole thing with Energy Z, that was supposed to be Mazinger Z's original name, so that was a cool little thing. Or like the whole Tsubasa thing and her gang of other people. I think those are from other Go Nagai manga.
yeah, they're from Violence Jack actually.
Yeah, so again, like he's pulling influence from other things and adding them in, which is really cool. And like I would say Shin Mazinger is like a better version of the manga, in all honesty, because the original Mazinger Z manga wasn't really the greatest thing out there.
Yeah.
It was, again, that was just another one of Nagai's things that he just did, just to, like, I think release Steam. I want to say it was one of those things, and that's why he was kind of mad that, like, Mazinger Z took off more popularity than Devilman did, because, Devilman, he clearly put an effort into. Maybe that's what influenced the guy's writing style. He's like, something I didn't put that much effort into made more success than the one I actually did. I guess I know what to do from now on.
Yeah. Well, we need to get back to Tezuka here, or either that or wrap it up.
Yeah. I think we covered our thoughts on.
Well, yeah, we covered a good chunk without, spoiling too much. Well, then again, I'm kind of surprised we kept as spoiler free as possible.
Yeah. I mean, we'd kind of have to too, because like for people that are listening, it's not really the most popular series. So if we start spoiling it, they'll be like, "Oh shit, I was going to check out the series, but now I guess I can't."
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good story, but I could see like some people be like a little upset, like maybe that it's too dark or too unrealistically dark or something. But I don't know, I don't have a problem with that.
Well, I don't know, because like in this day and age, people are really
sensitive.
Like, they're down for dark. No, not sensitive. They're down for dark. Like at least in terms of fiction, like they're down for darker series. Because like everyone just gets boners for it's so dark, yeah, baby. So like, so this is like right up their alley. And then, like, I would say for more or less for, like, newcomers would probably be more turned off by the art style if you're not used to, like, older art styles. Because while it does have, like, fantastic panels, it still is, Tezuka.
Yeah, it's Tezuka. Like, he doesn't, his art style looks about, normal. I forgot which one it was, but I think it was the Adolf one that actually has a more of a realistic style, I think. I could be completely wrong, though.
Yeah, I need to go back and read Adolf, but, yeah, because, like, with Alabaster and just most Tezuka series. Like, there's some really weird character designs. Like, there's this one character that, like, his whole head is practically a nose.
Yeah.
Like, shit.
And that little pig thing that he draws from time to time.
Yeah, Hameg, I think is the name.
I forgot. I don't remember.
I think it had something to do with Hameg.
Yeah, but to me it was so weird that in the first episodes of The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, you can see that pig thing there for whatever reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why it's even there, because I was wondering, like, was this episode done by, like, something related, like a Tezuka studio or something, but apparently not, so no idea why is that in the background.
Maybe they just really like,
I don't know, maybe, like, I'll find some more, or some anime references if I watch more Adventures of Sonic, which, I don't know, I probably will at some point, because so far of all the 3 Sonic shows, like, even with Sonic Set AM, I feel more into watching the Adventures version.
Wait, is Adventures
the Goofy.
The darker one?
No, Adventures is the Looney Tunes Roadrunner Sonic.
Oh.
But anyways, Alabaster. It's a dark tale of humanity.
Yeah, so it's good. Read it. Make Tezuka feel good about it.
Yeah. Making people think like we like this, and then I don't know, people are be insulting us. You like my crap? Shit. You don't have taste. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wonder what his son thinks about Alabaster.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, because I remember a long time ago, I'm not sure if you remember it, but, like, there's an artist that drew, like, Kill la Kill characters in, like, different style.
Uh-huh.
And I think the daughter got mad, and was like, no, why are you disgracing my father's style? I'm like, girl, let's be honest here. Your dad made, I think he made, like, the first animated hentai. Like, come on. Like, it's not like beat around the bush. It's not like Tezuka wasn't like he wasn't like he was the Disney of anime, you know. He had his moments of darkness and perversion.
Yeah, something those Disney doesn't do.
Yeah, you don't see like Disney coming out with like fucking Minnie Mouse hentai.
Yeah.
Experience it.
Yeah, so Alabaster, one of the darkest tales of Osamu Tezuka. It's worth reading.
Check it out.